On today's video, we are talking about how the healthcare system works here in Dominican Republic, but especially the difference in going to a public hospital and a private hospital. And the reason that I'm doing this video today is because we have some recent experience with my husband having an episode recently, and I'm sure that you have seen the video of that he's talking about that episode, and also his experience going to the hospital, and his response to people that are talking about how their own experience here in Dominican Republic. But I'm also making this video because he has some comments talking about that, and I also did a video a while back ago. It had to be about 2 or 3 years ago that I did a video talking about healthcare system. And I recently got a few comments saying that the healthcare system here in Dominican Republic is terrible and things like that. So I want to kind of give an upgrade for people that are new to the channel or people that haven't seen that video and that are you constantly traveling. That way they can have a better understanding of how the healthcare system works here in Dominican Republic. And because I know that sometimes the same people that watch your channel doesn't watch my channel and vice versa. So I just wanna do an update in regards to that. First, I wanna ask James what do he think about this subject.
Well, I think it's a good subject, but yeah, like you said, I had an episode, and you guys can watch it. I'll put the link up here. You can watch it. Like she said, we do have some of the same viewers, audience, but we also have some people who watch her channel that may not even know anything about my channel. So we just thought that it'll be a good idea, like she said, because you hadn't done one in maybe 3 years. I don't even think it was 2 years, man. We've been here for 3 years, and it was before we came over here. So it's been a while, so we thought that it would be a good opportunity to actually do an update plus some real life experience. Yeah. And like I said, I did cover this in a recent video, like I say, and I'll put that up here too. I did a video about what happened to me, and also afterwards when I got some similar comments on my channel that she has on hers, and you can watch that video too. So, it may sound similar to my video, but again, you're gonna have probably a little bit more to say than I do about this particular topic.
Yes, and one thing that I have to say that the first thing that you have to, or people have to understand, especially if you are from a foreign country or you coming from country like Canada or United States. I don't know how it works in Canada, but I know in United States that the first thing, if you like to travel, if you're gonna travel out of the country, the first thing that you have to do and take it out of your mind that when you visit, or put in your mind basically, that when you travel to a different country, the systems doesn't work just like it work in the United States. That's the first thing that you have to understand.
Oh, in whatever country you're coming from.
It doesn't work the same way. So in that regard, you have to be prepared for anything that can happen to you. Don't put in your mind, things doesn't work the same like in the United States. No, none of the systems are in place just like in the United States. So that's the first thing that you have to understand.
Yeah, I agree, because when I read these comments, or when I read those comments, it's almost like they're pushing this narrative that Dominican Republic doesn't want to treat, if you're a foreigner or you're a tourist, they're just trying to get money out of you, or they're not going to treat you until you pay. When that's really not the whole story, because that's not how the system works. But Dominicans who live here, they understand that system, so it's not a shock to them. And it's like when we become aware of something that's out of the norm to us, we tend to kind of like push this narrative or bash it when the system has been in place damn near, I wouldn't say forever, but probably as far as you can remember.
So let me put the comment up there, that way you can read it and I can talk about it. In resume, what he was saying is that he had a minor heart attack and he went to the hospital. And the first thing the hospital asked him, was if he had insurance cover. And he had insurance from United States. They cover him in United States. And they will not see him until he verified with insurance if they were able to cover him. and he will not recommend to travel here to Dominican Republic unless that you are in perfect health.
Because
And
they will let you die.
because they will let you die. And he asked if he's imagine, I mean, if he's wrong for thinking this way. And I will say, yes, you are wrong to of thinking this way, because that is not how the system works here in regards to the hospital. And like I mentioned before,
Well, let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that he's right in thinking the way he thought, if he thought the system worked this way. But he's wrong in thinking it because the system doesn't work that way here. And like I said, not to cut you off, but we can all, and I said this in my last video, that we can debate the morality of that system, but at the end of the day, that's just what the system is. So, you know, and I'm not saying, because we can debate, hey, you gonna let a guy die or have a heart attack because he can't provide his insurance card. Yeah, we can debate the morality of it, but you know, that's just how the system is. Well, go ahead.
yes, and that is true, because even us as Dominicans, we tend to think that way. You say, I'm dying over here, and the only thing that you care about how I'm gonna pay you, or pay you some money, or put a credit card before you're able to see me. What is the human part? What is the thing about doctors they sign to save people's life? And then, yeah, we can all argue in that part, but that ain't gonna do anything. The system doesn't work here that way. And like, for example, that way you can, before we get into the deep in this comment, let me explain to you, if you are here, if you're going to travel outside the United States or wherever you're from, that the system working for, the first thing that you have to do, because emergency can happen to anybody. You can be the healthier person in the world, and you don't know if you get in an accident, if you're going to eat something they did bad to you. Anything can happen. It happened to have that you have to go to the hospital. So in that case, if you travel a lot, just try to make sure when you have insurance, just check if they cover internationally, or if you can get a travel insurance or something they can cover you while you're traveling, just in case of emergency. Or in the case that you are traveling to a place, you can check online how the healthcare system works before you go over there. That way you can take care of, put things in place before you travel. But if you happen to travel to Dominican Republic, or if you are living over here, or if you already visiting over here, you have to understand that here we have public and we have private hospital. Anybody, Dominicans or anybody that is in the country can go to a public hospital, and they will see you free. You don't have to pay anything. But the problem here with the public hospital, it is that sometimes it's overcrowded. You have way too many people, and sometimes they don't have all the, how to say, all the resources to take care of you right away. So it depending on the emergency or what is happening to you, you can choose to go to a private hospital. Now, what happened with private hospitals over here? That private hospital, the first thing they're gonna ask you is if you have all the insurance. If you have local health insurance, perfectly, because they don't have to check anything. They know if they work with the health insurance or not. They will tell you immediately. Now, if it's something international on another country, yeah. And about that comment that person says, if they don't have the staff to do that, the first thing that you have to understand, you are in a foreign country. And some hospitals that you visit, they don't have people that even speak English. So you think about it, these people gonna have to call another country, United States, to be able to talk in English. He asked if they, about insurance, those type of terms that they probably have idea how to express or talk what they need to say. So that's why they put you to call and see if you can check if your insurance cover you. But in that regards, what you can do, it is, if you have a credit card, just put your credit card down and then just get insurance to cover for those expenses that you have. And this is just an idea, because that happens when you go to a hospital. If your insurance cover you international, sometimes what you do is you pay and then they reimburse you whatever they need to reimburse you.
And I'll add to that, but just go back to the public hospital first. I was gonna thought you was gonna mention that because I know when you and I was talking about it, you said something and to the fact that we know it is free, but if they're lacking certain resources that they need to take care of you, you have to pay for those resources. So give us an example of, like, if you go to the hospital, a public hospital, although it's free for them to treat you, if they need certain things to actually treat you, depending on how severe your condition is, you got to pay for it.
Oh no, yes, no, you have to pay for it. No, to family member or somebody need to
Right,
go
you're
and
not
buy it.
paying the doctor, you're just paying them to get the tools.
I mean, I have not have this personally experience. I heard from other people, like if you go to a public hospital and they like, let's say, just a manual example, not saying that they missing on this specifically, but let's say you're gonna go to a minor surgery or something. If they don't have gloves, if they don't stopping, they can treat you because they don't have a glove. But they're gonna say, okay, you can say you want your family member can get it from the pharmacy and then go back with what we need to do it. That can happen. In order they can charge you in there, but what they use, you or a family member gonna have to go outside and get it and bring it back to the hospital.
Well, I mean, I feel that example, but that was a bad example because a hospital should have some gloves.
No, that's what I said. That's what I specified. Not saying that they
if they ain't got no gloves, man, how you gonna?
That's what I say. Not saying
Right.
that they are not missing the glove because
Right.
I know that's
I
something
know
very
what
cheap.
you're
But that was the only thing that came to my mind because
Man,
I don't know what
she
else
could
to
at least
use.
say a scalpel or a
Remember that English is not my first language, or even less medical stuff that I can think of to mention anything. The only thing that came into my mind is glove. But I don't know. If you ask me for any other thing that have to be medical in English, I don't know. I don't know none of the stuff. So,
But
we're gonna keep it with the glove.
I think they get the point though. But yeah, that basically whatever they need to work on you, you're gonna have to go out there and get it. So they treat you for free, but you have to pay if they need extra things to treat you. Then you have to pay for it.
Yes, sorry, my vocabulary is short in the medical stuff.
Right.
Yeah, if they are missing something they need, and your family member can go and get it, they can proceed with whatever they need to do. That's happening sometime in public hospital. And keep going with the private. So if you go to a private hospital, the first thing they're gonna ask you for your insurance provider. And if you don't have that, they're gonna ask you how you're gonna pay, either card or cash. Until you are able to provide with how you're gonna pay, they will not see you. It doesn't matter if you are Dominican, if you are American, if you are foreigner, wherever you come from, the first thing that you have to do is provide something on how you're gonna pay. If you not, they don't wanna see you. They're gonna send you, turn you back.
So I think that's their first inkling to not see you. But there's also a situation, and I think you'll agree with me, that where they, and probably just depends on how severe it is, that they will see you, but they won't release you until you make a payment.
Oh, no.
Right.
No. If you're not able to provide at the beginning, they ain't gonna see you and then go have you there and then they
No, there's been cases where people have went to the hospital over here and they wouldn't let them leave.
Unless that you provide a card and that card doesn't have enough money to cover everything at the end. But if you don't provide something in the beginning, they don't gonna let you in.
Okay. All right, maybe that's it. Cause I've seen a story on the news where a couple was coming in Puerto Plata. They was on a ship and they seen them and they had an emergency on the ship. They got them all, took them to the hospital in Puerto Plata, and then they wouldn't let them leave. But that's probably what you're saying is probably right. They probably swiped the credit card and saw that there was something on there. But at the end of the treatment, they needed to pay the rest of it, and that's why they didn't let them leave. But and I've seen this happen, and I've seen things like this happen in Mexico too. But we ain't talking about Mexico. We're talking about here. But I thought that there was a possibility, depending on how severe it is, that they would at least see you and then won't release you until you come up with the money.
No.
But if that's not the case, that's not the case.
Yeah, the private hospital, you have to provide with how you're gonna pay before they able to take you in.
And I want to say something about this too, because I said this before. I said this on my channel also, that when you book a flight, they always ask you, do you want travel insurance? And sometimes it's travel insurance just in case something, a change of plans type things, then you get reimbursed your money. But they also have ask you for travel health insurance, and like she said in the beginning, you never know and what's going to happen. And I know when I used to book my flights, man, I always opted out of that, But right now, things can just happen in a split second, and you need to be covered, or you may need some coverage. So it's always good to spend that extra $100 or $200 it is when you buy your ticket, just so you covered. And I want to say another thing too that again I mentioned in my video, and I just want to mention it here, is that people who live here, that I recommend that you get local Dominican insurance, because when you have these emergencies and you go to the hospital, like she said, they know immediately when they look at your card that they either they cover you or they don't cover you. They know by looking at the insurance company. But if you're coming here and you're living here, you have some of this travel, international, whatever insurance that nobody knows what it is, or at least they don't know what it is. If you're having a medical emergency and you're in the hospital and they're trying to figure out if they even take this insurance, and like she said, sometimes they don't have staff, or they probably do have staff, but they don't speak the language. So they know they got to get on the phone, and then they got to call and talk to people in English and all this and this and that. It's not even worth the time. So if you're living here, get local insurance. But if you're traveling, then it's fine just to get the travel insurance. But if you're living here, definitely get local insurance.
Yes, because they do have the staff. Because every time you go to the hospital, it is an area where they give you the paperwork to release it. They check on your insurance and all that, and you do the paperwork. But it's like, like you say, like I mentioned before, if they have the staff to check on local insurance, you have a staff that probably is not prepared to check with an international country to check on insurance or who to call. They don't even know, they understand who to call, It is a lot to go through before, and on top of the other work that they have. That
right. Most of the time there's going to be somebody in there that speaks Spanish, speaks English, that you can probably help you out. But the idea that they should, it just seems a little bit entitled to me. And I would say this, when they came here, because I had to call 911 for me. When I called 911, when they got here, after they, put out everything on my arm, checked my blood pressure, and was doing everything that they had to do to kind of get me, I guess more alert than what I was. They asked me right then, before they put me in the ambulance, hey man, you got your, who is your insurance? You got your insurance card? So, if I didn't have an insurance card, what they would have did to me.
Yeah, that's what they ask. If they call 911, if 911 had to be called, one of the things is if your family member is over there with you, somebody if you can answer, they're gonna ask you if you have insurance, because they wanna know where to take you. If you have insurance, they're gonna take you to a private hospital depending on the condition. But let's say you are in a very bad condition, you can even talk. They don't know if you have health insurance or not to cover you. What they can do immediately, they're gonna take you to a public hospital, because you in the public hospital, at least they can leave you there to be seen. But in a private, if they don't know what to answer or who gonna speak to them about your insurance or how you're gonna pay, they're not gonna take you to a private hospital. So if you wasn't able to talk, in 911 needed to be called for you, and nobody was able to say if you have insurance or no, if you have a credit card to pay, they will take you to a public hospital.
Luckily, I had insurance, and I had local insurance, and once he got my card, the process just went along smoothly. He got the card, got the information, and next thing you know, I'm in the back of the ambulance, and I'm on my way to the hospital.
Luckily, you have somebody that was able to talk for you.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't in a talking condition.
Right.
But if
Luckily,
you wasn't able to say anything, they would have taken you.
Luckily, that's the first luckily that I did have somebody to speak for me. And then the second was I did have insurance. So I was prepared. Mm-hmm. I was prepared. So you're right. You're right about that.
No, because that's what I'm explaining. Even if you have insurance, they cover you, but you are in a condition like you are, how you call it, no disable, when you faded, like you are not able to talk, like how you call it? Like you are in a condition that you're able to talk. If they don't know where to take you because they don't know you healthcare situation, they're gonna take you to a public hospital. So since we was talking about your experience that you have recently, and some people that probably are my follower but they don't follow your channel, just let us know a little bit what happened to you recently.
Man, you want me to relive that day again, man?
No, just it don't have to be everything step by step, but just a little overall.
So, of course, like I said, I made a video on it, so you can definitely watch that video to get the full details. But long story short, I took some supplements that my body that didn't agree with my body, and it kind of just pretty much shut it down. And I was my body was doing everything to get rid of it. So from vomiting, diarrhea, sweat, everything. And so I was I had to call 911. Well, I didn't call 911. One of her family members came over because she was out of town. Called 911 and I went to the hospital. And that's pretty much the general gist of it. But I also share too that the ambulance ride, just some prices, the ambulance ride was 1,150 pesos, which it was like $20. That's unheard of in the States. Just for you to get in the back of an ambulance over there is, I know when I left Alabama, I mean, it was 500 just to get into the ambulance. And some states, I heard someone left a comment that says like 700, 900, 1,000 just to get an ambulance. But my total experience that everything that happened, the ambulance, that's how we say ambulance. But by the ambulance coming to pick me up, taking me to the hospital, them treating me, the total bill came out to be about 11,600 pesos, which is roughly about $200. And the insurance that I had, or we have, covered 85% of that, and I ended up walking out of the hospital paying about $25, $26 roughly for that experience from the ambulance and being treated in the hospital.
Mm-hmm. And I think, well, talking about that, and he went to Sedimax, and I thought that the bill was gonna be way more than that because he was over there in the emergency room, and he was over there for about between 5 and 6 hours. So I said, this bill gonna come out to be high bill, but no. So it wasn't that bad. Oh, it wasn't bad at all. No, I mean, a ride to the ambulance, be in the hospital, be treated and all that. I think it was.
Yeah. The only thing I would say, man, DR, you gotta get big ambulance. I couldn't fit in one of them. I had to put my knees up, so they weren't ready for a guy that's about 6'1" to get an ambulance.
Yeah, he had a rough time with the ambulance too.
Yeah, but on a serious note, I think the main purpose of us making this video is because it was ironic that I had to kind of go over this same thing on my channel because of the comments, and then we go and review comments on her channel, and then we get this guy saying he had a heart attack. The guy on my channel talking about his friend had a broken leg and they didn't want to see him, and then over on her channel this guy saying he had a heart attack and they didn't want to see him. So it kind of just lets us know that people just don't really understand how things work. And don't get me wrong, I get it, and I would say give them a little. I want to give them a little grace because you do think things work. For some odd reason, we really think things work the same way in our home country that they work in another country. But when you really sit around and think about it, it's kind of naive to think that. So I can kind of understand where some of these people where they're coming from. But at the same time, we got to understand that it doesn't work this way, and to get out there and just to bash the country or bash the system is I don't think that's right either, especially if you didn't do anything to educate yourself before you hopped on a plane and went to a foreign country. I think that's, to me, they can say, well, why did you educate yourself about how things work before you came over here? You know, they can also say that. So, but I think it's necessary that people just understand the difference between a public and a private hospital. And the bottom line is a public hospital is free for you to get treated, and a private hospital costs. So whatever your insurance company doesn't cover, you're going to be responsible for it. In public hospitals, if whatever they need to treat you they don't have, you're going to be required to provide it. It's not you paying the hospital, you're paying for those resources and things that they need to make sure that you get fixed. In a public hospital, they're going to make sure before they treat you that they know how you're going to pay. So they may swipe your credit card, and if they swipe their credit card and see that there's some money on it, they're going to go ahead and admit you. Now, if it ends up being where you've been in there too long, I mean, not been in there too long, it ends up being that the cost that they swiped your credit card exceeds, or their treatment exceeds the cost that they swiped on your credit card, they're going to require you to pay that before they release you.
I mean, yeah, you have to pay the balance. I mean, you can know somebody have to go and pay for you, but before they are not release you until you pay. Because they send you to pay first, and then when you bring the thing, when you pay, then they release you. That's exactly what they are. When first pay, you go do that, and then they release you.
Right.
So you just do, you finish? I'm sorry.
And yeah, well, real quick, it's not a bill me later system like in the U.S. And yeah, for some of the gripes I have about the U.S., that part is, I guess you could say, is a benefit because they like one of the guys said, some states can't deny you, but even that's a double-edged sword because even when they admit you, once you get out of the hospital, you got a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 bill. Where over here, you know, you leave out of the hospital, you got a couple $100. So there's a double-edged sword in this whole thing, but they don't have a bill me later system here because you're a foreigner. Theoretically, if you come over here as a tourist, how do they know you're not going to pick up and leave the next day?
No, but not just that. You're for Dominican. You don't even if you're a foreigner. That system is for everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm wrong. Right?
No, you're wrong. But they don't have a bill me later system for the private hospital. They don't have a bill me later system here for nobody, Dominicans or foreigners.
Right.
And you just have to pretty much you just have to understand how the system works, wherever you travel to. I mean, either if it's here, Dominican Republic or any other country. Just to give the people the benefit of the doubt, I think probably sometimes the confusion can be when people say, take me to the hospital, people immediately think that is the hospital like United States. And here we have two types of hospital. Just no hospital like probably United States you calling private clinic and no hospitals. Here when you mention hospital, they think it's just the government hospital or public hospital, but here we have private and we have public hospitals. So if you want to be specific, when you want to be taken to the hospital, you need to say, oh, take me to a private hospital or take me to a public hospital.
I thought over here, no, over in the States, a hospital is a hospital. They don't call them private clinics. A hospital is a hospital. Here is where they differentiate. A public hospital, when you say hospital here, they consider it public. When it's private, they call it private clinic.
No, that's what I mean. Like
you didn't
over
say
there,
that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So meaning when you go to the United States, when you go to a private clinic, probably you have to go through the same process and pay before you go, or they bill you later, just like the hospital.
Well, a private clinic, I mean, a private clinic is like, I don't know if that's like an urgent care or something like that.
Yeah, like
an urgent care. Yeah. In the States, it's the same thing. I mean, you gotta pay. You gotta show your insurance card
before they're able to see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, probably that's the difference. But over there, when you say hospital, it's hospital. They're gonna take you to the hospital.
Well, most
here,
people,
we have two types.
Well, when people have emergencies over there, they're not. Ambulance ain't taking you to a private clinic. Mm-hmm. You know, if you got an emergency, they take you to the hospital. So all hospitals over there are public hospitals.
Okay. Yeah. So guys, this is just an update that we wanted to do about the healthcare system, how we work here in Dominican Republic. Just in this case that you are in this moment in the Dominican Republic or you are thinking in travel, that way you can understand the difference between the public and the private hospital, or if you need to take care of get you covered with your insurance before you travel to this country, to any other country, or to be prepared, or just to check how that system works to the place that you're gonna travel to, or at the place that you're gonna travel to.
Yep.
So this is, you don't have nothing else to say?
No, no, I was gonna think they probably saying, what's this on his arm? So this is a mapper.
They put a map after his episode. He needs to do that.
They monitor my blood pressure.
To check.
So I got this cord
Monitor.
right here, this monitor. This little cord right here. And it's taking my blood. So it took my blood pressure. I don't know how many times that we've been sitting here. So
you have to have that for 24 hours.
24 hours. So yeah.
So yeah,
So
the episode they have is serious.
So
What's serious?
they probably thought you broke my arm. Yeah.
Oh, that little bit,
yeah.
but it be broken entire thing.
Nah,
or just a
she
little
didn't break
piece of
my
it?
arm, y'all.
I don't have that. I'm not that strong. But yes, this is all what we have right now. If you have any experience that you can share with us, if it's be good or bad, you can leave the comment down below here. That way, if you would see this something that we need to share with other people, that way people understand how things work over here, we also discuss it. We just do that. That way, other people can understand, because a person like this leaving a comment will think, oh, they're terrible over there, how things work in the Dominican Republic. But the thing is that you have to understand how things work. Like if we see any other comments that we think is deserved to be shared and discussed, that people can understand, we will do that. So if you have any experience, good or bad, just leave it down here or send us an email. So until next time, bye.
Peace.